So my name is Terezia Rostas. We are in Sheffield at the moment and I've moved here about 10 years ago. My background is from Romania. I am Roma and I have 2 children. In terms of a job and education, my background is as I've worked for the local authority for the last 10 years for the inclusion and learning services. And for the last few years, I decided to become more independent. This is how I've decided to found a community interest company called Care for Young People's Future. So you see, my role in the local authority was to support the new arrivals, and mainly the Eastern European families, whether they were Roma, Romanians, Slovakians. And while I did that job, I've just been able to identify the challenges that they come across in terms of education, accessing services, and different types of support that they need. So what I've decided to do, I just thought, like, how can I do a bit better and influence services more or support the families a bit more? So with the Care for Young People's Future, it's an acronym and it stands for the Centre of Alternative Education and Reintegration for Vulnerable and Young People. And the main thing that we do is to support the vulnerable people from the Roma community mainly. What do I say, what do I mean by vulnerable people? It's anything like undiagnosed needs, special needs that haven't got a specific diagnosis from the doctor in England, looked after children, permanently excluded young people from the school system, alternative education, mentoring and training. At the moment we deliver training and workshops to services related to education, cultural awareness, history, safeguarding, reducing crime and health. So all these workshops and trainings are adapted and related to the Roma community for the services to improve their relationship and to improve the communication with the Roma community and their knowledge about this specific community. The feedback clearly told us and explained to us that actually the services felt, I don't know how to find a word, like the services really appreciated this type of workshop. They just got the information that they need, they gathered the information, resources and advice how to improve their relationships and to identify what's not working in that community or in that service. By doing a workshop with, led by Roma, it just gave them that opportunity to ask direct questions to Roma people who are more academic, and they could clearly indicate and demonstrate different types of activities or approach that would work for this community. Because I've been living in Sheffield for a while and I've worked in South Yorkshire for the last few years, I've been able to develop some links, develop relationships, and the community really trusts me. So whenever different services or research universities need me in order to do some work with the community or to actually identify what the challenges are, I would just go out, do some outreach or just speak to the community and just explain to them what the aim of the project is and ask them if they would like to be part of this. So Care for Young People's Future, it's a community interest company and a social enterprise. We are aiming to open an alternative provision where the young people could do different type of education suitable to their aptitudes, suitable to their skills. Which is more practical, which is more related to the community's background. And when I say that, I mean like dancing, music, language, and different activities that the community would find them suitable to our background. Because it's a community interest company, the profit goes back into the community. So hopefully the aim of this is to mentor and empower more and more young people to become part of the Care for Young People's Future, and eventually let this community interest company and be part of this and make a change in the Roma community and in the services as well. Care for Young People's Future aims to work with highly professional Roma people, and in present we work with Roma people from different backgrounds, which is law, arts, education and health. Most of the Roma that we work with, they come from different countries, so it's great because we get to have different dialects, we get to identify different practices that work for different communities. Even though we are all Roma, there's different differences that we've identified. So it's nice to see that you would have board members on the same community organization that are all identified as Roma, but actually from different countries, and they still get to have the same aim and the same objective. My experience with disabled Roma so far, because as I said, I have worked for the local authority for nearly 10 years, I have been able to see probably thousands of families with undiagnosed needs or with disabilities or with additional needs that required support. Apart from the education bit, which I used to do, I was able to complete different forms for them and refer them to services such as psychologists, hearing impairment, speech and language, and so on. So this is a massive concern to me in terms of seeing Roma people with undiagnosed needs. It's causing a huge pressure on the community because of the fact that they don't know the system in the UK, and it takes between 6 and 18 months to get a special educational needs statement when we talk about education. If you think about different, even more complex needs, which it wasn't in my role, like adult services and disabilities, that might take even more. So my advice for the Roma community would be to, obviously, as soon as they get into a city in England, to register to the doctor, register to a GP. If they've got any documents from their doctor from abroad, bring them over, present them to the doctor, they might translate them. Ask for an interpreter, whether it's Roma or Slovakian, just ask for the interpreter and make sure from this first meeting you are clear about what your health needs are and your health issues are and your expectations. Demand, ask for your rights. The second step that you would need to do is probably from your doctor to ask for advice. Where do you need to go in terms of identifying what your rights are and what forms you would need to complete, or get the necessary steps to do together. If you've registered with a doctor, that's the first step. If you are registered with your local authority at the council in terms of education, they might help you to access additional support from agencies such as called multi-agency support teams that support families newly arrived and that need to be helped to complete different forms in terms of accessing disabilities or accessing equipment. From your doctor, you will be referred to the hospital, and that's the main expertise where they will probably give you the diagnosis. If it's related to education, the council will, and the school, if it's a child that goes to school, the school will support you to gather the evidence required for that child to get an SEN statement. So you are going on the right route if you are registered with a doctor, and if you've got children that are school age, register with the local authority and with the school. So from here, these services will try and guide you towards the right direction, and the hospital as well. If you suffer from hearing impairment and your child goes to a school, you will be allocated a hearing impaired teacher, and that person will support you and guide you and train you how to use those hearing aids, and will support you to complete the forms and the relevant documents that you need to do. If it's speech and language, the same, the doctor will refer you to speech and language. If it's delayed development and mental health issues, the doctor will refer you to the mental health department. If it's mobility, the doctor will refer you to physio or chronic pain and so on. So your doctor is your first step.